Social Justice Team 5. Our topic is the Inuit climate change. Our hypothesis is that the psychological well-being of the native Inuit population is remarkably affected by the observed impact of climate change on their homeland. Their way of life, culturally and physically, is being forced into a rapid adaptation period for their survival. The Inuit survival hinges on how well they can psychologically adapt and remain resilient and authentic to their cultural experience. In this picture, we see the drastic changes in the ice caps in the Arctic region. This trend is not getting better, and this picture is already dated from the year 2012. The Inuits' unique connection to their environment will be lost if we do not change this trend. Just as we care about every animal and every person, and when an animal is endangered, we do our best to save them from extinction, we must do so for the Inuit as well. Save their homeland. In liberation psychology, the emphasis is to help those who cannot help themselves, to teach them to speak up for themselves, something they have never done before. Although this theory focuses specifically on oppressed peoples, dictatorships, third world countries, and others, it relates to this issue as well. The Inuits are but a small population, only about 150,000 people throughout the whole world. There are many corporations and companies that have immense power, allowing them to pollute the environment and get away with it. Liberation psychology raises the banner of those who are so often not heard.
Slide 4, Moral Foundation Theory. Ethics and a core belief that fairness and equity will prevail. So essentially, this theory provides a framework for psychological mechanisms that work together to suppress or regulate selfishness and make cooperative social life possible. So essentially, the Inuits have to work together. If they don't work together and start working against each other, they're not going to have a favorable outcome with all the chaos that's already been created with the environmental change. The Inuit population faces many environmental changes that threaten to change their social and cultural norms permanently. A belief that equality and equity will prevail through their spiritual and ancestral roots is an intense psychological coping method for the Inuit population.
The behavioral adaptation theory shows how humans adapt their behavior to their environment and the cost of these changes. In the past, Inuit culture has relied heavily on Arctic seasons and wildlife. With seasons changing and ice melting due to global warming, Inuits have had to adjust their hunting techniques and more. While Inuits have showed versatility and quick thinking, the change of lifestyle is a loss for their culture and history. The behavioral adaptation
In addition to the above-mentioned, psychological distance theory explains that when an event is perceived as psychologically close, it is represented as being more concrete. For the Inuit, this means they may be psychologically willing to engage in the environment changes with resiliency. The Inuit have begun to understand that the climate change they are seeing in their environment is not something that will reverse course overnight. And lastly, but not least, slide 7, eco-psychology theory. One could argue this may be one of the more important psychological theories for the Inuit population. The relationship between humans and the ecosystem and how it affects them psychologically. Inuit culture is heavily anchored in their surrounding nature. Climate change and melting ice have greatly affected the Inuit people in their previous way of living, along with culture, dietary needs, and also education. Inuit feel like they are losing their identity and fear what the future may look like.